Imagine feeling weighed down by the opinions and expectations of everyone around you. Their judgments, criticisms, and unsolicited advice seep into your mind, influencing your every decision. What if there was a way to free yourself from this constant burden and take back control of your life? Mel Robbins' Let Them theory offers a revolutionary perspective. What others do is not your problem. This is my story of freedom, self-discovery, and empowerment, guided by this liberating concept. Chapter 1. The Weight of Expectations. My life felt like a performance. At work, I tailored my ideas to please my boss. At home, I sacrificed my preferences to keep the peace. Even my social media posts were curated to avoid controversy. I was living for others, and it was exhausting. Every decision seemed to carry the weight of potential judgment. I found myself constantly overthinking, replaying conversations in my head, and second-guessing my choices. It wasn't just a matter of being polite or considerate. It was a deep-seated fear of disapproval that kept me trapped. I felt like a puppet with others pulling the strings, dictating how I should think, act, and feel. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, I stumbled across a video by Mel Robbins. She spoke about the Let Them theory, a simple but powerful idea. Let them think what they want. Let them judge. Let them be who they are. You focus on you. These words struck a chord. For years, I had allowed the actions and opinions of others to dictate my choices. It was as if Mel had handed me the key to a prison I hadn't even realized I was in. I decided it was time to change, but change didn't come easy. I began reflecting on how deeply others' opinions had influenced me. I recalled times when I avoided sharing my ideas in meetings for fear of rejection, or when I attended events I didn't enjoy just to avoid disappointing someone. I realized that my people-pleasing tendencies had robbed me of my authenticity. As I mulled over Mel's words, I decided to test the waters. The next day, when a colleague dismissed one of my ideas, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, I thought, let them dismiss it. Their opinion doesn't define my worth. For the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of freedom. This was just the beginning of reclaiming my life. Chapter 2. The Let Them Epiphany. I began experimenting with the Let Them theory in different aspects of my life. The first significant test came at work. During a team meeting, a colleague criticized my approach to a project. Normally, I would internalize such criticism, replaying it in my mind and questioning my abilities for days. But this time, I paused and thought, let them criticize. Their opinion is theirs to own, not mine. I calmly explained my reasoning and moved on. Initially, this approach felt unnatural, even rebellious. I had spent so long attaching my sense of worth to others' approval that separating the two was a daunting task. But with each passing day, I began to see the benefits. By letting others own their opinions, I freed myself to focus on my goals and values. I also noticed a curious shift in how others responded to me. When I stopped seeking approval, people seemed to respect me more. My newfound confidence made my ideas more persuasive and my presence more impactful. The Let Them theory wasn't just changing my mindset. It was transforming my relationships. One evening, I reflected on a powerful insight. Letting others judge or criticize didn't mean I was indifferent to feedback. Instead, it meant I could discern constructive criticism from mere opinions. This discernment became a tool for growth, allowing me to improve without losing myself in the process. I began journaling my experiences, documenting moments when I applied the Let Them theory and the outcomes that followed. These reflections became a source of strength, reminding me of my progress and reinforcing my commitment to this liberating mindset. Chapter 3. Navigating Relationships with Let Them. Applying the Let Them theory to personal relationships proved to be one of my greatest challenges. My parents, well-meaning but overbearing, often voiced strong opinions about my career and lifestyle. In the past, I had bent to their wishes, sacrificing my desires to avoid conflict. But now, armed with the Let Them theory, I decided to approach these situations differently. The first test came during a family dinner when my parents expressed disappointment in my decision to switch jobs. Normally, I would have felt a surge of guilt, rushing to justify my choices or even reconsidering my decision. But this time, I thought, let them feel disappointed. Their feelings are valid, but they don't invalidate my choice. I calmly acknowledged their concerns without trying to appease them. I explained my reasoning and stood firm. To my surprise, the world didn't collapse. My parents didn't agree with me, but they began to respect my boundaries. Over time, our relationship improved as they learned to accept my autonomy. This principle extended to my friendships and romantic relationships. I realized that trying to please everyone often led to resentment and unspoken tension. By letting others own their emotions and focusing on my values, I created healthier, more honest connections. For instance, when a friend accused me of being distant because I declined an invitation, I didn't over-apologize or feel compelled to explain. I thought, let them feel how they feel, and left it at that. Through these experiences, I discovered a profound truth. Relationships thrive not when we conform to others' expectations, but when we show up authentically. The let them theory wasn't about disregarding others. It was about prioritizing integrity and mutual respect. Chapter 4. Overcoming fear of judgment. One of my greatest fears was public speaking. The mere thought of standing in front of an audience and being judged sent waves of anxiety through me. I had avoided countless opportunities to present at work, always finding excuses to pass the baton to someone else. But the let them theory offered a new perspective. Let them judge. Let them think what they want. My worth isn't tied to their opinions. This mindset was put to the test when my manager asked me to lead a presentation for a major client. My initial reaction was to decline, but I stopped myself. What am I afraid of? I wondered. The answer was clear: judgment. With this realization, I decided to face my fear head-on. I spent days preparing for the presentation, not just focusing on the content, but also on my mindset. Each time self-doubt crept in, I reminded myself, let them think what they want. When the day arrived, I felt the familiar pangs of anxiety, but I pushed through. The presentation wasn't perfect, but it was a breakthrough. As I stood before the audience, I realized something profound. Fear of judgment had been a self-imposed barrier. By embracing the let them theory, I found the courage to take risks and grow. This experience marked a turning point, empowering me to pursue opportunities one had previously shied away from. Chapter 5. Setting boundaries with let them. Boundaries had always been a weak spot for me. Saying no felt impossible, and I often overcommit, putting other people's needs ahead of my own. This led to constant stress and resentment, but I didn't know how to stop. Mel Robbins' let them theory gave me a new framework. Let them be upset. My time and energy are mine to protect. The first time I applied this was with a friend who frequently asked for last-minute favors. Previously, I would have dropped everything to accommodate them, even if it disrupted my plans. This time, when they asked me to help with a project over the weekend, I simply said, I can't commit to that. Predictably, they expressed frustration, but I thought, let them feel frustrated. Their feelings were theirs to manage, not mine. At first, I worried about seeming selfish or uncaring. But as I continued to set boundaries, I realized something. True friends and supportive colleagues respect boundaries. The ones who didn't were more interested in what I could do for them than in the relationship itself. This principle also came into play at work. A colleague often delegated tasks to me, assuming I would pick up the slack. One day, after receiving another last-minute request, I said, I have other priorities right now and won't be able to take this on. Their surprise was evident, but I stood firm. They eventually stopped overloading me, and I felt a newfound sense of control over my workload. Setting boundaries didn't just improve my relationships, it also improved my self-esteem. By valuing my time and energy, I sent a message to myself that my needs mattered. Over time, this led to a deeper sense of self-respect and confidence. I realized that boundaries weren't about keeping people out. They were about defining where I ended and others began. Chapter 6. The ripple effect of let them. As I embraced the let them theory, I began to notice its effects extending beyond myself. My newfound confidence and authenticity had a ripple effect on the people around me. Friends and colleagues started to notice the changes in how I carried myself, and some even asked how I managed to stay so grounded. One coworker, inspired by my ability to stay calm under criticism, confided in me about their struggles with self-doubt. I shared the principles I had learned, emphasizing that letting go of others' opinions didn't mean ignoring feedback. It meant discerning what truly mattered. Watching them implement these ideas and grow more confident was incredibly rewarding. In my personal life, the changes were just as profound. My relationships grew stronger because I was no longer trying to control how others felt about me. Instead, I focused on being present and authentic. This shift encouraged the people around me to do the same. For instance, my partner began to open up more, expressing their needs and feelings without fear of judgment. By creating space for authenticity, we built a deeper connection. Perhaps the most unexpected change was how the let them theory affected my parenting. I realized that my tendency to micromanage my children stemmed from a fear of how their actions might reflect on me. Letting go of this fear allowed me to parent with more patience and trust. Instead of trying to control their every move, I began to guide them while letting them make their own choices and learn from their mistakes. This ripple effect extended even to strangers. I found myself more compassionate and less reactive in everyday interactions. Whether it was dealing with a rude cashier or a careless driver, I thought, let them be who they are, and chose not to let their actions dictate my mood. This mindset made my days feel lighter and more peaceful. Chapter 7. Let Them as a Tool for Inner Peace. The most profound change I experienced from embracing the let them theory was within myself. For years, I had carried the weight of others' expectations, allowing their opinions to shape my decisions and self-worth. Letting go of that burden was liberating. One of the practices that helped me internalize this mindset was meditation. Each morning, I spent 10 minutes focusing on my breath and repeating affirmations like, I am not responsible for others' feelings. My worth comes from within. This daily ritual helped me center myself and approach the day with clarity and intention. Journaling also became a powerful tool. I wrote about situations where I applied the let them theory and reflected on the outcomes. Seeing my growth documented on paper reinforced my commitment to living authentically. It also helped me process lingering doubts or fears, giving me a space to explore and release them. Over time, I noticed a shift in how I approached challenges. When faced with criticism or conflict, I no longer felt the need to defend myself or prove my worth. Instead, I focused on staying true to my values and letting others' reactions unfold without interference. This mindset brought a sense of calm and resilience I had never experienced before. Inner peace didn't mean I stopped caring about others. It meant I stopped trying to control things beyond my power. This allowed me to show up more fully for the people and projects that truly mattered. By letting go of the need for external validation, I found a deeper connection to myself and a greater capacity for joy. Chapter 8. The Breakthrough. Looking back, the let them theory transformed every aspect of my life. It wasn't an overnight change, but a gradual process of unlearning old habits and embracing new perspectives. Each step, no matter how small, brought me closer to the freedom and authenticity I had been seeking. The breakthrough came when I realized that my worth was never tied to others' opinions. Whether it was a colleague dismissing my ideas, a friend misunderstanding my intentions, or a family member expressing disappointment, their reactions no longer held power over me. I had reclaimed that power for myself. This realization opened doors I never thought possible. I began pursuing opportunities one once avoided, from public speaking to creative projects, without the fear of judgment holding me back. I built stronger, more honest relationships by showing up as my true self. And most importantly, I found a sense of peace and fulfillment that came from living in alignment with my values. The let them theory wasn't just a mindset, it was a way of life. It taught me that freedom doesn't come from controlling others or earning their approval. It comes from letting go, focusing on what truly matters, and trusting myself. What about you? What could you let go of today to live more authentically? Remember, their actions are not your problem. Focus on you and watch your life transform.